Humanitarian journalism.
8:54 exactly. This is Salam Media News and Views. Razina Theba is an attorney and divorce mediator. Her background is primarily in law, but she has an undergraduate degree from Wits University, for which she majored in English literature. She went on to complete an LLB degree in 2000 at Wits and practices as a labor law lecturer for a number of years. She has no formal training in creative writing. This is her first book, which is entitled A Home on Vorster Street. The last time I spoke to her was perhaps 2 years ago about, obviously, divorce and family law. So it's wonderful to have her back again on the show, but this time about her book, A Home on Vorster Street. Assalamu alaikum, welcome to the program, and congratulations on your first book.
Walaikum salam. How are you, Auntie Julie? Thanks so much.
I'm really good and gosh, absolutely delighted for you. And I guess, I've always threatened to write a book, but admire you in your very, very busy life to have actually sat down and put pen to paper.
Thank you.
What motivated you, Razina? What made you believe that there was a story within you that needed to be told?
I think we all have these stories. And my kids were older. They actually didn't need me as much as they did before. And I was deciding whether to go back into mainstream law or actually document the stories that I have heard from my uncles and aunties and cousins, for most of my life. And it just felt like the right time. I had time and, I thought, okay, let me do the book and then make the decision. And I was fortunate in that after the book was done, I sent it around to publishers and Jonathan Wall said, okay, we think lots of people can identify with this kind of an experience. So, yeah, that was that.
Wow. So is it a memoir or is it a collection of short stories?
So it is a collection of short stories. Each chapter deals with a different member of my family, and towards the end, it sort of moves on to my life now with my husband and children. And I think because I was born in 1976, I saw a lot of the way in which this country changed. So it kind of documents even my struggles with finding a school that I liked for my children. So it starts very early, probably before I was born, talking about the lives my grandparents led. So it's a memoir, but I'm not the focal point.
Okay, I can't wait to get my hands on it. This is what Ronnie Casseroles had to say about your book. He says, Razina Theba's A Home on Vorster Street splits your sides, enriches your soul, and evokes all the reasons why we love our diversity and who we are. Heartwarming, isn't it?
Yeah, no. I have been completely humbled by the reaction, but mainly I'm really grateful that people are receiving the book this way. And I do think everyone can relate to it. It's relatable. It's you'd see your family in some of the stories I describe. And it's, I think, an interesting thing for our children to keep. We are aware of the history because that is readily available on the internet and things like that. But, there were people that were so impactful in our lives. And I needed a way to sort of put that down. And I
hear you. This is about our personal history, who we are, where we come from, how we came to be in South Africa, what it means to be a South African Indian Muslim, for that matter. And what I'm finding, maybe you've picked up on it, perhaps, people's stories are different, but a lot of our young people don't seem to appreciate our personal history. And maybe by way of these type of books, we can preserve those stories.
Yes, absolutely. I have teenage sons, and they are quite bored with listening to my stories about Volkswagen.
Right.
it's sort of the equivalent of our parents telling us how far they're to walk to school. Eventually you stop listening. So I'm hoping that in time, as they're older, like we miss our grandparents and we wish that there were questions we had asked them, So I needed to put it into a book. I'm not very tech savvy in any event. I don't blog and things like that, and I'm a little old school that way. So I thought, how nice, and if I had these experiences, I'm sure many other people did. So yeah, I actually wrote this book for my son. Initially, the first maybe half of this book, I had no intention of getting it published. But as it went along, I thought, well, friends were reading it and they said to me, okay, let's see if we can get this out there. So it happened by accident. It wasn't my intention to have it, freely available. But I'm very excited and grateful that I've had the chance to do this.
I'm sure, because I have no doubt that you have actually captured the essence of Fordsburg and the surrounding areas where I grew up as well. I have amazing memories of, of those areas, and people that grew up in those areas would definitely want to get their hands on the book, and they would very definitely identify with it. But I have to ask you, I hope you haven't given away any family secrets.
Well, let me tell you, my mother was the first proofreader.
Okay. And she was happy.
She was happy. She said, look, it's fine. It is what it is. Firstly, she said to me, who does this? Who writes about their family? She was unimpressed with the whole idea. So I explained to the publishers, before we go ahead on this, my mother needs to have a look.
To be comfortable.
Yeah, I got her approval. Actually, it was the one that mattered the most.
Okay. And listen, hey, Razina, we all have skeletons in our cupboards. There isn't a family that doesn't, but as long as you haven't let any of the very serious ones out.
You know what? Families are families.
Absolutely.
I mean, but I wasn't going to write that book. I think the book I wrote, I'm hoping it shows the best of us. And I think it shows challenges normal people have. It's about an Indian family, of course, but I'm hoping any family can say, yeah, this sounds like my family as well.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
And even though you talk about the area that you grew up in, which is Fordsburg, Johannesburg, I think that people anywhere in South Africa or even beyond would be able to relate to the story because, as you say, it's a family story. It's about the good times, the bad times, the things that impacted you as a child, and made some sort of or shaped you as a human being.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, a lot of our grandparents were immigrants as well. And, I tried to capture what that experience may have been like for them. So at the moment, our children and ourselves, we're very comfortably South African. But there was a time where it wasn't that easy for our grandparents, and I tried to capture what that might have felt like for them, in Fordsburg. And of course, I find my children's lives so removed from the childhood I had. So this was a way of sort of showing the younger generations what life was like many years ago. And there were such amazing people, actually, that I grew up with, and I think every family can identify with that.
Absolutely, absolutely. So A Home on Vorster Street has been published. Have you already launched the book, or is the launch date still in the pipeline?
Well, I think because of COVID and because we were sort of in the eye of the third wave, we decided to put that on hold for a while. So, yeah, we have not set a date for the launches yet.
All right, give us a shout out when you do have the launch. I definitely would want to be there. Does this also say that there's perhaps another book in the pipeline?
You know what? I'm given one chance to write a memoir. This is it. I don't think I'd revisit this. It needed to be. I feel like it needed to be a solid body of work. But I've enjoyed writing. I didn't know I would enjoy it as much as I did. So maybe I'll look at a different medium and take it from there.
Inshallah.
Possibly. I mean.
Razina, wonderful talking to you. I can't wait for the launch. Is the
Thanks,
book available even though you haven't launched it yet?
Yes, it's available at Exclusive Books, Bargain Books, and it's available online on Takeout, Loot, Amazon, and the ebook is also available. So, yeah, I think it's quite widely available at the moment. They launched it informally last week, Thursday.
Right.
But I think with COVID, people are also a bit tired of online launches, so we're going to see what we do about that.
Okay. Look forward to it. I'll try and get my hands on it and look forward to the launch. Congratulations once again.
Thank you.
I think you've done
so
your
much.
family very proud.
Yeah, they're pretty excited. They are.
Wonderful talking to you again,
Thanks.
Razina Theba. Go well and assalamu alaikum to you.
Wa alaikum salam. Thanks, Aunt Julie.
My pleasure. 9:05 exactly.